Hi, and welcome to this tutorial, Improving Platform Transparency through Citizen Data Donation Methods. I'm Professor Daniel Angus, and with me is Dr. Abdul Obeid. We're both here at Queensland University of Technology, which is a node of a larger Centre of Excellence called the Centre of Excellence for Automated Decision Making and Society. We're going to talk to you today about some work we've been doing on citizen data donation through a range of browser plugins that connect into various large media ecosystems. So those of Meta through Facebook and also through some of Google's products. The project itself is led by this idea of platform observability, which is a concept put forward by Reeder and Hoffman. Now, the notion of platform observability is that it goes a step further than just simply transparency, in that what it does is tries to empower and understand users and their own experience of platforms and automated systems through their own specific material settings. So to do this, we need to move beyond, say, audit studies, which may create, false or fake personas to interrogate algorithmic systems. But of course, are doing so kind of disembodied from an actual user itself. Versus other just general kind of data acquisition through APIs or through web scraping, which may miss some of the actual situated context of a user and their own experience of a particular platform. So the projects themselves are, and this idea of citizen data donation is that it's largely situated in the user experience. So the users themselves are the ones operating these particular plugins, which are generating rich data. So this is very thick data around their genuine interaction with these platforms. And it's also very dynamic. So as the platforms themselves change, as they update their interfaces, these tools can kind of keep up with this change to continue to donate data about their own experiences. It's an empowered method in that rather than just asking users to kind of hand over their login details or something like that for us to kind of use on their behalf, it's actually keeping them as part of the process through the provision of dashboards and tools that help them understand how they are, say, being targeted with online advertising, or how their search results might be being manipulated or kind of personalized by these large platforms. And it's a complementary tool itself, in that it complements some of those other approaches such as auditing or other kinds of API-based or web scraping-based understandings of platforms and how they shape our sociality. So to start us off, we're going to talk a little bit about the first plugin, which is the Australian Ad Observatory, which is looking at Facebook advertising and empowering our user base to understand that ad ecosystem. So I'll hand over to Abdul to talk a little bit more about this one.
Thanks, Dan. So the first of our citizen science data donation plugins is the Australian Ad Observatory, as we mentioned. We like to think about project participants as citizen scientists, and the question I'm going to ask right now is, how does a citizen scientist donate data to the research project? Well, this begins at the browser. You install it via your browser's extension store. On the right here, we've got an example of how this looks in the Chrome web store. You just go ahead and add to Chrome, and then the software plugin is loaded into your browser. From there, all you need to really do is just go through your Facebook newsfeed as you usually would, and then when an advertisement appears, what the plugin will do is it will capture it and it will let you know that the advertisement and its targeting information have been collected with a small header that appears in the top of the advertisement. So then once you've collected some data, you can actually go back and review this in a dashboard-like interface that shows to you the advertisements that have been collected, as well as various tags that relate to the targeting of the advertisements. A massive component of this research project is image analysis, and on the right here what I've got is one such image analysis technique, logo detection. In this example, what's what's been done here is that a logo has been identified within the advertisement, and then it's determined that the advertisement is there, and this then constitutes an extra layer of information that we interpret from the ads that we're gathering. So beyond that, now I'll hand it over to Dan, who will talk about some of the other techniques that we're currently implementing.
Yeah, so a large part of the project then is not just about allowing users to essentially capture this data and review it themselves, but also inviting them to donate this data to us as a research team to make larger inferences over groups of users. And so, having had, over 1,000 people sign up to this particular project means that we can start to make inferences around the kinds of ads that are being targeted to specific demographic categories. In this case, we see a group of advertisements around white goods, particularly stainless silver and fairly dark-looking white goods that are targeted largely to employed, male, Caucasian users of the Facebook platform. And so through this and a number of techniques like Abdul's talked about, we can start to understand how ads are being preferentially targeted to particular groups and make kind of causal assumptions and relationships around the ways that the ad model is working within the Facebook platform. Of course, as part of this, we'll be on the lookout for also discriminatory forms of advertising that may be taking place, so-called digital redlining, which is a large interest of some of the other academic partners within the research project. Beyond this, the other project we're going to be talking about in the tutorial is the Australian search experience. So it's another plugin based approach, but instead of looking at advertising, we're interested in understanding the ways that search is personalized across the Google ecosystem. So for this, again, I'll hand over to Abdul to talk a little bit through the process of downloading and using this particular project.
What's great about this plugin is, like with the Ad Observatory, all you need to really do again is just go straight to your browser's extension store. And again, we've got a link for then the Australian search experience, which you just go ahead and add to Chrome. And then once it's installed, periodically what it will do is it will inject a series of keywords into a background process that initiates, like shown on the right here, a set of pages that open up in sequence and scan various contemporary search engines for said keywords that have been injected into your browser. And so then from that, what we've got here in this slide is some of the results that come out of those search processes. So the data donations that are then fed back to our database, they correspond to search rankings that might appear from day to day for different terms. In this particular example, what we've got is the term Uluru statement, which is one of the keywords that we've indexed in the past. And these search rankings, which are displayed here in a rank flow visualization, correspond to how the Uluru statement's various search results have ranked up on Google Search, Google Video, YouTube, and Google News.
So with this particular plugin, it is slightly different to the Ad Observatory in that the Ad Observatory could be considered more of a passive process, in that it only really kind of initiates when a user is on Facebook scrolling through their feed, and it's kind of gathering that advertising content as they're doing that. With this particular plugin, it's slightly different in that it is a daemon process that is periodically kind of appearing in the background. And so a big consideration in the engineering of this is making sure that that's not invasive, it's not kind of taking focus away or significant processing away from other tasks that a user might be doing while they're using their laptop or PC. And so it's kind of very much there in the background. I mean, another key consideration here is also that, unlike the Facebook, the Ad Observatory project, this one is authentically using their logged in Google account to perform these particular searches, which means that any search that you do conduct will appear in their search history. And so we have to be very, very careful about the kinds of terms that we are adding into our search term list. And also, to be absolutely clear here, we are only gathering search results from those within that whitelist that we generate. We're not gathering any other search-related data from their other general kind of Google searching or YouTube browsing habits. So it's only those generated from the plugin, from that whitelist that we generate. So through these two examples, what we're kind of finding out and what want to explore quite a lot within this tutorial is this notion of browser plugins as a particularly powerful way to operationalize Reader and Hoffman's notion of platform observability, of how they kind of build in a process of reciprocity between the user and the research team in how the users are provided with access to dashboards or other kinds of insights into their kind of algorithmic mediated experience of these particular platforms, but then how we as a research team are provided with an authentic, over say thousands of users, idea around how particular demographics are being shaped within these particular platforms. So we certainly invite you to come along to the tutorial, which we're going to be delivering as part of the FACT conference, to get involved in that, where we're going to really unpack these concepts quite deeply, talk about the process of designing the plugin and getting it there within a kind of a web store, some of the issues that we've encountered and that certainly our collaborators have encountered around pushback from the particular platforms themselves, and broader kind of questions around the response from our user communities and how they've found their experience of being part of this particular research project. So thank you very much, and we look forward to meeting you at the FACT conference very, very soon.